sunk an enemy destroyer.
Hey team, this is Ripper here. You guys are doing fantastic today. Got a fun topic video today. More not about playing tactics and whatnot, but you can actually, as always, watch my tactics and talk about it at the same time. But more about today's video is the topic of why there's so many blowout matches, why randoms is dying, why the destroyer is the key component of that, and we'll talk about it today and have a good discussion. Okay, it's really fun about expressing new ideas and seeing where the state of World of Warships is. But as always, before we begin, like, subscribe, button below. Appreciate all the supporters of the channel. If you see value what we're doing here, smash those buttons, and thank you for your support. Again, as always, we can't thank you enough. At 40,000 subs, we're going to do another premium giveaway. So let's talk about it. So randoms versus the new Unbreakable line, and basically the gist is, one is basically Warzone DMZ or King of the Hill kind of thing where you get one life. The other one is respawns. You come back over and over again, play domination kind of style gameplay, capture the point, right? So I'm trying to make a point as to why I think the game is, and you're going to see videos as to why, and I'm showing you examples. And there seems to be a lot more hostility in randoms than I find in Unbreakable line. I feel like people in Unbreakable line are having a lot more enjoyable time, as opposed to in randoms, as you can tell already, so much negativity, so much hate. We're in the Tier 10 Smaland, most broken destroyer out there. My favorite, by the way, too, that with the Druid and so forth. But this is a clear example of how fast a game can deteriorate, because what did I always said? The destroyer is the key component of the game. Because that's the case, if you lose all of them, most likely the game will begin to favor for your team. Right off the bat, Hayate is spotted right there. We're going to open up and just basically melt this guy. Hayate is a little bit better than a Shimakaze. If Haraguma and Shimakaze kind of had like a baby, this is kind of what it would be like. He pops his smoke, and unfortunately he doesn't realize what a Smaland has is radar. So this is probably the broken gimmick of Smaland. Fast-firing guns, 1.5 second reload with radar. Look, nobody's spotting for him, so I'm undetected, so nobody can fire at me. I've got engine boost, I've got heals, I've got basically a great reload and the radar, and just keep firing, and I'll kill him. All right, there you go. Halland dead, Hayate dead, all three destroyers, Idrago, Darbiano dead. Okay, now what does the team do? Everybody look in the comments. There's like, what a start, right? Because people realize the game is now over. There's no spotting. Even though there's a submarine, who cares about submarines? And nobody cares about submarines anyways. They can't cap. Because why? They're always underwater. Yes, the submarines in technicality can cap if they are above water. But how do submarine players play? Where's the current archer fish right now? Right there. You see? Is he anywhere near the cap? Can he even spot anybody? No, he's underwater. So there's the problem right there. If there was a carrier in the game, okay, maybe you get some unlimited spotting there, but carriers are crap and they're going kind of redoing it anyways, whatever. And then I'm also going to talk about what I look for in the minimap. You notice that on the minimap, please, if you haven't checked my video out, look at Aslane's mod. You need to download this if you want to be competitive. As you can see, the rings on my minimap show where all the radars at, all the threats, even Hydro. I even have Hydro right here so I can see what can detect me as a destroyer player. That's what you want to have up in your heads-up display kind of minimap. That's the thing I look for in the game. I also want to look for who are the destroyers that were spotted. I knew Adriano de Barbiano was over here, so it wasn't a threat to me. Hayate, no threat to me over here, and Halland somewhere, and then probably in the middle right there. That's what I'm looking for on minimap as a destroyer player. A lot of people ask me, what am I looking for in minimap? That's the things I'm looking at, threats. Similar to my line of work, when you have your RWR up, if you have your systems up, we're laying out threat rings everywhere, so we know where when you fly, we know where to avoid, and to also make sure we know where air traffic control is, where threats are, where kill boxes are, where RASs are. We have to know all of those things in the military and the Air Force, and I do it the same way in this regard, because situational awareness and knowing where you're at, know where the threat's at is key component. ISR is a crucial component of anything, especially in this game. So when you have all the threats right here, now I'm being red-eyed. I know I'm being red-eyed by the Plymouth right now. Therefore, somebody's probably going to fire me Wooster. I'm just going to throttle juke back and forth. That's the things I'm looking for on the minimap. All right, let's go back to the topic at hand. The topic is why randoms is dying. I mean, look at this. Look at where the battleships are in the back. They're also dying like crazy, right? Because why? Nobody's spotting for them. Nobody's screening for torps. Nobody's checking over the submarine. They're just getting obliterated. And the only thing they're going to shoot at is probably maybe destroyers here and there. The battleships and basically some of these radar cruisers are sitting in the back. Look, Wooster in the reverse, Prussian hiding behind an island in reverse. Guns are not full bear. They can't even shoot at me right now. Plymouth hiding behind an island. And look, you got everybody. All my team is literally lined up front now because why? They have the confidence to move up. They're not afraid. Plymouth is taken down by the Hindenburg. Now look at this. We're at the 5-minute check mark here. Look at their points. They're at 79. We're at 490. They've lost their GK. They lost their Plymouth. See how the game just starts deteriorating as the destroyers are all dead. I mean, pretty much nobody's having a wonderful time now. The submarine's dead, and boom, it's gone. That's it. That's the enjoyable experience in World of Warships randoms right now. I'm seeing a lot of that lately, especially when I'm playing like in the Smaland, where I just go in and obliterate all the destroyers. I mean, if you got players that are that, kind of understanding of the game, the mechanics, where they're just in a Smaland, a USS Black, some kind of really radar destroyer, or just a destroyer hunter killer. If they just go down and eliminate, look at the first 3 or 2 minutes, all the destroyers go down. What happens to the game at that point? I mean, look at the stats here. The game is literally over in 5 minutes and 30 seconds. I mean, that is the nature and state of World of Warships, and I think it's not as enjoyable because why? Everybody's dead. Nobody's actually pushing. Everybody's in the back, and I feel like the game experience, even for battleships, even though I'm not a battleship player, I'm making the case for the battleship player that they're not enjoying themselves as much, because hiding behind islands, in reverse, kiting away, sitting in the back, trying to snipe, is not as enjoyable, I would say, as you would say in an Unbreakable line. People I find are having a lot more fun in an Unbreakable line where they're actually pushing forward. Did you notice if you're pushing forward in a battleship, you're actually killing the destroyers more? In an Unbreakable line, I find like I'm dying more in Unbreakable line, but it's fun. Guess what? I'm coming back to life, and I'm going out and then enjoying the game more, firing more, learning things more. And someone brought up the case of, hey, you don't learn anything if you just hit the W key. Well, I kind of want to argue also that in randoms, when all the destroyers are dead, you don't learn anything either. Everybody's in the back. So what are you learning from that? Just to run away even more? As opposed to, should you try to kill and push in or help your team or support your destroyer? They're not learning that lesson. As opposed to in Unbreakable line, I've noticed a lot more people are running in and supporting their destroyer. Let's watch a couple other videos to prove my point. All right, so here's another video with Jay Humphreys now. So another destroyer. Again, I like destroyer gameplay, so as you can tell, we're a destroyer player channel kind of mostly. I do occasionally play other ships as well if you're new to the channel here, but I like to focus on more destroyer gameplay because, again, what did I say? The destroyer gameplay is way more impactful and enjoyable in my personal opinion, but also detrimental as well. I think the destroyer gameplay itself is to the point where it actually causes these problems in randoms. Now, the reason why I bring this case up is because if you like playing that style of Warzone DMZ style, if you're familiar with Call of Duty, where you are literally king of the hill, you only get one life, and you got to survive the duration of the entire match, and whoever's left alive at the end of the match is the top winner. If you enjoy that play style, then maybe randoms is for you. However, I've seen the majority of players in randoms want to actually play the game and enjoy it in the sense of firing an artillery game shape. I mean, this is not Call of Duty where you have a machine gun and running around. It's kind of fast-paced action right in front of you. This is more of that patient strategy, decide where to maneuver a large vessel and figure out positioning, key components of aiming in the game, and seeing what you can do more strategy-wise, right? That's why I like World of Warships, a little bit more slower paced, a little bit more thinking man's game, as opposed to Call of Duty and Battlefield and so forth, where you're just kind of spraying and praying and figure out. Now, I've seen people camp in Call of Duty. It doesn't make a very enjoyable game experience either. If you have a guy sitting way in the back, sniper's nest posted up and everything, and you can't find the guy, what's the point of playing? I find that is the same experience you have here in World of Warships, where you're getting battleships and cruisers literally sitting in the back of the map, joining the carrier, sitting and camping out in the back and setting up a shop and setting up the grill, barbecuing, roasting some s'mores in the back J line. Doesn't seem very enjoyable in my personal opinion. So therefore, what is the point of playing then? And, I thought that World of Warships is more about, hey, fast action, firing guns, artillery gameplay in that regard. Not fast action like Call of Duty, first-person shooter kind of mentality, but at least you're firing your guns. At least you're torpedoing. At least you're spotting. At least you're engaging in ranges less than 11 to 12 kilometers, kind of like, again, Unbreakable line. Because why? You're not afraid of losing your ship, and therefore you kind of open yourself up to try more things. I've always said in business that if you miss every shot, you don't take, right? Well, I notice a lot of people are not taking shots in this game. Right? Look at the Vincent here. Look at St. Vincent. Look at the minimap. Again, what do I got? A minimap. Look, St. Vincent hiding behind an island at no throttle, literally at 0. United States hiding behind an island. Colombo in reverse. Yamato, not sure. At least he's aiming in the right direction, my God. Libertad, not really even in range for anything useful. Smolensk is sitting and smoke all day and trying to, HE spam. Again, how is this enjoyable for World of Warships? And like I said, if you're not pushing in, what is the point then? So at least, the destroyers are actually trying to push in, but then your buddies in the back are not even supporting you. So it doesn't make fun for a destroyer player either. A little burst fire in the Shimakaze there. And I'm sure he's going to take one shot and go down. There you go. He goes down. Look, how is that enjoyable? And now look at the battleships. Now they're all like, I don't know what to do. Nobody's spotting for me. I have nobody to look at. Nobody can't hit what you can't see, right? So we got to rely on the carrier and the submarine, which I think Wargaming thought that by introducing the submarine and the carrier, it would prevent, people sitting in the back. But actually it made it even worse, where battleships are just running the back because now a submarine is perma-hunting them. They got the carrier perma-hunting them now. You have destroyers that are running free reign will now, and it just doesn't make an enjoyable experience. And look, and now that here's an example of destroyers not pushing up. Now that you have destroyers that are just literally too afraid to move forward because nobody's supporting them, again, what am I looking for the minimap? I'm looking at what kind of support do I have. That is also a crucial component for a destroyer player. I have a Moscow's radar, Colombo, Wisconsin running in reverse. I have no idea why. United States carrier, and I have a Jutland. So if I look at my support and I decide, do I want to push a little bit more heavier, or do I want to kind of stand off range, kind of play a little less aggressive? That's what I look for in the minimap. So right now I'm thinking hey, okay, carrier's coming back at us. I'll just turn on the AA guns, have some fun. I got my Jutland here. We're going to cap the spot. There. All 3 caps taken over. Game is pretty much sealed because nobody is anywhere near the caps enemy-wise. And now we're kind of just lingering and waiting for the game to expire. What enjoyable experience is this? Look at this. Okay, a case in point again. Libertad, one of the best secondary brawling battleships in the game. That I personally agree, Pan American battleships are some of the best secondaries and the best brawling ships now. How is a brawling battleship going to be doing going to South America over here? St. Vincent is at least moving forward now, coming back from vacation. Yamato is now going on leave and heading AWOL. United States is nowhere to be found. Smolensk is literally just the only guy up front. And Sherman's in the back. Colombo is in full retreat. How is this that enjoyable experience that we all want to have and experience and have fun with, right? Again, Unbreakable line, I don't normally see this anymore because why? People are not afraid to push forward. Like, hey, let me try something. Let me fire my guns. Let me spot. Let me expose myself to some kind of danger. Again, having this one life, save my life concept is detrimental because you're saving that life. Therefore, you won't take any risks. This is a simulation. This is a video game. It is designed to take risks so you can have fun. But because nobody takes risks, nobody is actually taking a chance, nobody takes a shot, therefore nobody's having fun other than the advancing team that actually is doing something. Again, this also is bad for the destroyer player because what fun is a destroyer player going to do to push up if nobody's there to support him? And vice versa, what fun is it for a battleship and a cruiser to push forward if they're just going to get blapped with no spotting, no smoke screens, no torp screening, no nothing? So I mean, look, how is this game? I mean, literally, nobody is detected and nobody's firing. That is, within range, of course. So there have been matches literally where I'm just sailing and literally nobody's firing, not a shot fired for a few minutes. And it's instead of World of Warships, it's become World of Sailing Ships, where we're just sailing our little tugboats around, kind of like when I was a kid at a theme park. That you put a quarter in, you could drive these little boats around the water. And I feel like that this is what this game is now, and randoms. That's why I'm starting to see I see way more enjoyment playing Unbreakable line. So I never bring a problem without a solution. My solution is keep randoms the way, if you want to keep randoms in wargaming, go for it. It'll always be here for those CV submarine players just to basically shoot battleships in a tub. If you really want to play World of Ships as it was intended, I would encourage people to play Unbreakable line more. I would advertise it more. I would get more friends to be playing Unbreakable line. You can even have divisions in Unbreakable line. Isn't that insane? Even Jingles. Mr. Jingles actually agrees with me. So he just did a video where he showed a Kitakaze, and he was showing off the play style of it and doing an actual video about it, and finding that it was way more fun, more enjoyable, more risk-taking, more action. And again, less blowouts because why? People are actually engaging, having fun, talking, coordinating. Not like, here we go, and boom, there's Smolensk is dead, it reveals itself, and that is the game. How enjoyable was that for the other side? How enjoyable was it for most people? I didn't really do anything. I literally was just sailing around, getting shot at by a carrier, and that was it. I shot down some planes. Yay, 3,000 damage. Look at that. I didn't do much. And let's see, how long did that match last? 8 minutes. Wow. Unbreakable Line lasts longer than 8 minutes. You know, like I said, games last longer on Unbreakable Line with respawns. It's a lot more engaging. Let's watch one more to prove my final point here. All right, final video here to round out the topic of discussion. So what is the solution? Like I said, bringing it back home here to the point is keep Unbreakable Line as a permanent mode. And in the background here, we're playing the Tier 10 USS Hull. I just did a video about it. Totally awesome. Almost borderline broken with the AP. It's like if you slapped a Des Moines on a little destroyer for a Sherman Hull, right? Anyways, going back to the again, keep Unbreakable Line. It is the basic game mode that everybody does, which is arms race, domination, capture and hold points, right? That's the whole point of the game is objectives, capture points and hold them. If you want to play kind of just team deathmatch, go out there and blow yourself up, then that's randoms, right? That's going out but again, people don't play it like that. They just run. They're so terrified of dying that they literally just run and hide in the back of the map and hopefully just snipe their way to a victory. And that normally doesn't work. In team deathmatches, and if you've ever played player versus player, team deathmatches, DMZ, Warzone, King of the Hill, whatever, you're going out there and literally risking yourself and trying to shoot, at least engage the enemy, right? Where in this game, I feel like people are just hiding in the back, hiding behind islands, pretending like you're some kind of sniper hiding behind cover, and hopefully somebody will, give you a spot, and then you just win the game that way. That is just not how it works. Again, keep Unbreakable Line, the domination mode. People respawning. You're going to get a lot more people engaging, a lot more people trying out new things. They're not afraid. They're not worried about saving that one health and life that they have. They can actually go out and try new things. And again, you miss every shot you don't take, and I find that is the case in randoms. Again, this is not World of Submarines or Silent Hunter. This is not World of Warplanes. There's a separate game for that. This is called World of Warships, where you're supposed to go out there and war ship with your ship. So again, that's why I think this game is slowly gonna die with the randoms mode in the sense that people just unless they just want to call rams more of a competitive mode where you're going, who's the king of the hill, who's the last to survive, and I get my war stats that way. Or if you're worried about stats or whatever, that's your mode. Go for it. And that's why I keep the game mode there. It is still an enjoyable game mode for most people. If they just want to be that last person to survive, to show off how good they can survive the game, that's great. I actually enjoy the game where you're working on teamwork, you're working on strategy, communications, figuring out what positioning is, what kind of fire rates or guns, or trying out different gun sets or different armaments, different ammo types. Different places to aim. Like I'm figuring out, hey, how do I aim at this Petro? See, normally what most people would just totally hide and go like, I don't want to go against a Petro. I do. I'll try it. I mean, I want to figure out where does my AP shell land. And look, I'm doing 1,600 damage. That's why USS Hull is pretty dang powerful right now. If it can take on Petros and other cruisers like this is awesome. I love this game style where I'm just firing and going, look, I took a shot. Great. I took damage. Great. Where's my backup? My Montana is in the back here. Great backup right here, right? Look at my mini-map. I'm looking at my mini-map. Nobody's supporting me. I'm the only one alone and afraid up here. Montana in the back here. Montana in no position to fire on this guy. Colombo, everybody's bunching up in the middle here. Again, that doesn't make a very good game mode, game style, game strategy where everybody's just doing their own thing, bunching up, and not really engaging in the game. Unbreakable Line, at least people are moving in formation. They're moving forward. And they're W keying it in. That's great. That's awesome because why? If they die, they get to come back. Some guys, obviously, yes, I've seen an Unbreakable mode or line. They don't know how to play that yet, but they're going to learn. They're going to find out, oh, look, my friends are moving forward. They're actually pushing. They're dying, but they're coming back. They're eventually going to learn. You don't really learn too much in this game mode right here where I've seen a lot of guys die, and then they just sit there and they don't know. They don't do it again on the next round, and they don't try a new tactic. I've seen people look at this. St. Vincent, did he learn anything? What is he learning in this? Look, he's going full speed into the opposite direction of the objective. Or look at these guys. These guys are sitting in the back here. Shikishima standing behind an island. My goodness, it's Shikishima. Gudenlau just doing airstrike stuff in the back. At least his GK is moving forward, but he's not having a good experience because look, he's going against 5 people. How is that fun for him? So again, I'm pleading for the battleship player, the cruiser player. This Petro really kind of just sitting here. I guess he's engaging me. I mean, I'll give him the credit for actually trying and shooting at a destroyer that's 12.5 kilometers out. And he's just going to get burned to death. But like I said, this is the gameplay. At least we're firing and engaging each other in artillery gameplay. And forgive me, I think I'm hugging the border. I didn't zoom out and check right now, and bad on me. Sorry, I didn't mean to hug the border here. I thought I had more space, but I was so caught up focus firing on this Petro here that I was so laser focused on trying to get this guy out of the game. Oh, finally somebody fires at the Petro. And let's see, what am I looking at the minimap? I'm outside his radar range. Everything's looking good. No destroyer threat. No torpedoes coming my way. Let's see if we can burn this guy down. And he is so tunnel vision focused on me right now that he's forgetting exposing his broadside to his right to a salvo from probably the Montana right here. And I'm just waiting for that death fire. Oh, yeah, I was hugging the line. I was like, oh, I'm hugging the line here. Sorry. And, oh, he almost took a shot right there. Let's see here. How are we going to get this guy? Again, HE on the USS Hull is great. Starts a great deal of fires. The pin on it is pretty decent as well. They pin 34. So you can pin majority of most armor hulls. Notice the range of the USS Hull reaching way out in the distance of 14.8, which is great for starting fires at this range. And Petro's guns are becoming less and less effective at these ranges. And he finally gets taken out by Montana. There it is. So he exposed himself. At least he risked himself. We took over 510,000 potential damage. Now, let's see how the game is playing on the mini-map. Most of my players are in the back here. Yeah, everybody's just bunching up. Not really able to do much. My Montana battleship at least is now coming forward. And again, at the end of the day, what am I saying? Wargaming, if you're listening, keep Unbreakable Line as a permanent game mode. You're going to make more money, more people are going to play, more people come back, because they're going to try different things. They want to try new commander builds. They want to try new tactics and strategies and pushing in a little bit more. At least they're pushing in, right? That's the whole idea, right? Because people complain so much in randoms. Why isn't nobody pushing in? That's why you can't make the argument they're not going to learn anything. I beg to differ. They're not learning anything right now in randoms. People are learning to just stay in the back and hide. I mean, that doesn't make a very good game mode. So I don't think that argument holds water, because what are people learning in randoms right now? They're right at this moment. There are so many blowout games and people sitting in back, especially battleship players, just sitting in the back, camping and so forth. Again, at least in Unbreakable Line, I beat this to a dead horse. At least they're pushing in. At least they're engaging and playing the objective. And the maps are smaller. They last longer. Game modes last longer. So that's my thought about it. All right, let's just finish this game out. Let's see. Oh, yeah, and I hate these cyclones, too. What is the point of these cyclones? I mean, 8 kilometers now. Okay, that was their idea of pushing in. There was literally no firing for a few minutes. World of Sailing Ships, again, for the next few minutes, because nobody can see anybody. Let's see here. Well, at least people are ramming each other, and that's pretty much the game. Let's see here. Pushing in. Yay. Yeah, so, I mean, this wasn't really the blowout match I thought. When I looked at this replay again, I thought it was a blowout match, but it kind of was just like, hey, run in the back, find these guys in the back, whatever. And the Cyclone is just not helping at all, so at least you're experiencing, this is what Unbreakable Line would kind of be, where you have 2 battleships at least 3 to 4 kilometers in. I think that you would find that a little bit more enjoyable. You can actually figure out how to do drive-bys. You can actually figure out how to do torpedoes if you have torpedoes. You actually use a lot more secondaries, a lot more focused on close brawling, and it's just way more intense action gameplay instead of this running to the back and kind of figuring out when do we die here. He's dead. And where is everybody else? Yeah, the game is pretty much over at this point. Oregon's going to get blapped here. Yep, there it is. And Salem's going down right here. Actually, I think I break his guns in this one. Yeah, this is a funny one. This is like a Des Moines, this mini Des Moines versus a Salem. The older brother versus the younger brother here. And look, we're just going to break all his guns. That's why, dude, that's why the freaking USS Hull is so powerful. Oh, he lost 1 set of guns. Now he's only got 1 other gun. This is how you take a Salem out of action, guys. Just aim for the guns. There it is. He lost all his guns. Now he can't do anything. Well, and he goes down. That's the game. All right. So, again, bottom line, what's my point, my thesis statement here? Keep Unbreakable Line wargaming. You're going to make so much money. You'll keep the game alive, and I think randoms will slowly eventually go away of less people playing it and more people playing Unbreakable Line when you introduce Tier 10. If you make Unbreakable Line exactly like randoms, where it's Tier 10, except carriers and subs, of course, make it kind of that permanent brawl mode, permanent capture the flag, permanent arms race mode. You introduce Tier 10, absolutely everybody's going to move over. You'll have the other, more competitive people play randoms. I think they'll call it keep randoms as more of that competitive game mode where, I want to see who will outlast the other person and King of the Hill kind of thing. And I think that's where the game will be going. So anyways, hope you guys enjoy the video. Like, subscribe button below if you enjoy the video. Hey, share your comments. Let the other people know your ideas. What are your thoughts? What am I completely wrong? I mean, should there be a Unbreakable Line permanent game mode, or should there keep randoms the way it is, or should there be a different mode to randoms, or what solution do you think? I always like bringing up topics and questions and figure out, is there a solution to the topic at hand? And look at this. The Elbing is at A1. So you got, again, random player here. So in the randoms, we got somebody hiding in Alpha 1 here. Did they learn? Are they learning? What did they get out of that mode right there? But anyways, as always, hope you guys enjoy the video. Like, subscribe button below. Appreciate all the supporters of the channel. And as always, if you see me out there, make sure you say hello, and we'll talk to you soon. Cheers.